Is the stream on? Let's see. Is this on now? Oh yeah. I think it is. Oh, mine's buffering. That's it's a bit quiet though. Maybe that'll be better? Bah. Is this on? I'll bring the microphone closer. I think. Oh yeah, that's a bit louder. Okay. So today we are doing a tier list because I want to. I'll edit this. Currently, guess it's like making making tier lists. So today we are. Oh, this needs to play. Yeah, okay. Now the audio is so good. Everything seems alright. Yeah, it's loud enough. Cool. So, today we're doing tier lists. Because I wanted to. Yeah. I think with the model, like animation thing, it might be easiest to just do it off stream and then show it off, maybe. So here's this. That looks right. So yeah. So I have the website Tiermaker. I'm on the website Tiermaker, where you can make the tier lists like easily. So yeah, that's what it is, I guess. So let's start, I guess. Boom. So currently making PVZ plots tier list. There. So this is probably just like a fun way for the... It's like a fun thing for viewers to look at, or I don't know, any sort of thing really. Oh, there's an ad. There's another ad. Yeah. So let's start. So for... This is on Tier Maker, you can find, and it just has like any tier list you want. So for this Plants vs Zombies tier list, I was thinking of just like going through it, I guess. First I'll just see that the stream is properly active. Okay, yeah, it's on. Everything's all good. So let's start. So here's the tier lists, or here's the tiers, S, A, B, C, D, and the higher it is, the like higher letter it is, the better it is. For this tier list, if I rank something as being in the S tier, it doesn't technically mean that it's the best ever out of everything. It just means that in most circumstances, it will generally be considered the best option. So, and that's for all the tier lists in the stream today. So, I'm gonna start out on D tier actually. Yeah, I'm gonna start out on D tier, then slowly work my way up to the S tier. So right down on D, I'm going to just be placing the... I think something is missing. There's a few missing ones. Oh, go find another one. This says missing like half of them? It's missing a lot. Okay, this says... Here it is, 56. That seems better. I'll just, is there a way to reset? Clear. There it is. Cool. So here's the tier list. We can delete these two. So, S, A, B, C, D. And it's time to do this. So down at D, I'm going to just be placing the Grave Buster. This belongs in D tier because you can only use it on the first nighttime levels, and it doesn't... No one knows what it's supposed to be. I don't know if it's supposed to be a bin or like a plastic tree thing. I don't know. It belongs in D. And along with the grave bust, I'm placing the flower pot and the I'll just leave it at the flower pot. These two belong in D tier because they are essential for their own levels. However, they more so just exist as like a sun depletion. They don't serve much purpose. They can be used for potato mines. However, if you use the flower pots on a lily pad, you still won't be able to place the potato mine in it. So it doesn't really serve much purpose. So they both belong in D tier. Next it is up to... I'm gonna guess C tier next. Unless there are any more. Oh yeah, all these belong in mini games and in bugs, I think. So there's like the tree, there's the walnut bowling things. These two are different from these two because these are specifically tied to like a hacked version of the game or something like that. So they belong in D tier. Next, C. C is for like the standard item, or B and C are sort of the standard, but C is like the lesser. So I'm going to be placing the pea shooter in C tier. Now pea shooters are alright, I guess. However, they don't deal much damage. They don't attack very fast. They cost pretty cheap. However, if you have lots of sunflowers, then their cheapness suddenly becomes not really a concern. So, like, they're good at the start of the game because they're the only thing you have. But after you get like the potato mine, which is like level 5, then you don't need the pea shooter anymore. So it's C tier for me. It also isn't good on any of the survival or minigame or puzzle levels. So it's C. Next, I'm going to be placing the Chomper. This is also a C tier. It's alright for killing bucket heads and anyone that's like gotten a bit too close. However, the potato mine does it as well, except it's cheaper. And I think with the Chomper, it is an insta-kill type plant. It's like the cherry bomb and the doom shroom and all that. However, it isn't as useful because it can die, and it only attacks the front side. It doesn't attack the back side. So it isn't as useful as like a final move type thing. Next, I'm gonna place the Sea Shroom. Sea Shroom is in C because while they are free, the main problem with them is that their recharge time is so long and so high that they don't really have any use. Because with the pool levels, nighttime pool, you can just as easily get the lily pad and then the regular puff shroom for just 25 sun, and it's much easier to coat the pool in that than the sea shroom. And also it's one of only like 4 plants that go in the water, and it isn't that useful, so it loses a lot of value for me. Next, cabbage pulch. It's on the same level as the pea shooter because it does the same thing, but it just doesn't have. It just does it better on roofs. So they're the same. Next, what else is a C tier? I'm gonna say the sunshroom. Sunshrooms belong in C because they are cheaper than the sunflowers. They still require 2 small suns. When you plant this, you have 2 small suns you need to collect before you can place another one. Whereas with the sunflower, you have to pick up 2 regular suns before you get this. However, that 2 suns can also be used on every other plant. Whereas the small suns are only really useful for the sunshroom and like the potato mine, and that's about it. And all of the 25 costing ones. So it isn't that useful because the sunflower can already do 25 in just 1 hit instead of 2. And also you can't use the twin sunflowers on it, and you also have to use a coffee bean on it if you're using it in the day. So it isn't very useful. Next up, what else is C tier? The walnut. No, not the walnut actually. The lily pad. It's like the grave buster in the flower pot, in that it's basically an essential tool, except it isn't actually essential. I guess it is, but what sets the lily pad aside is that it can be used for the cattail plant. Actually, I guess it belongs in D tier because its only value is placing other plants on top of it, so it basically acts like a flower pot. These two are essentially the same thing. Next, I'm going to maybe move on to B tier. Oh no, star. Whatever this is called, star fruit. This is C tier because it isn't able to kill one regular zombie. Well, it sort of is, but it requires very like specific placement, and it shoots at weird angles. So unless you have like a lot of these, they aren't very useful. And they're actually technically worse than the pea shooter because they aren't really designed. They're supposed to be more of like a supportive plant, I guess. So you can have one in like the top and the bottom, and then it will just attack everyone in the middle. However, it isn't that. Like, I would rather just get a full lane of pea shooters than a full lane of star fruit. So it belongs in C. Next, the cactus. This is also C because, well, it deals the same amount of damage as a pea shooter, so it's alright. It's only useful for killing the balloons, balloon zombies. However, it cost a lot of. It costs like 100 sun to do it, and it 125 actually, and it when it pops the balloons, the zombies are still alive afterwards. So it isn't useful for what it does. And I think it's now onto B tier. Maybe? Yeah, it's onto B tier. And so at the start of B tier, I'm placing the sunflower. Now this is one of the more important plants in the game. It's the most important one. However, it isn't. It's very overshadowed by the twin sunflower, which is coming up later. However, what the sunflower is pretty good. It gives a consistent 25 sun. If you get 2 lanes full of sun, then that's like 250 like at a time, which is pretty nice. You can upgrade them to twins. They're very cheap. You can buy them on every stage because every stage starts at 50 sun, which is what they cost. Their recharge time is quick. Everything about them is pretty good. So maybe it belongs in A, but I think it belongs in B just because the twins are so much better than it. So much more better than it. So next I'll put the walnut. This belongs in B because it just sort of helps protect you against everything, except it isn't the best at it. There's still zombies that can go over it or just break through it completely. And it is cheap though, so it's pretty useful. However, the pumpkin and the tall nuts overshadow it for me. So yeah, next I'll put the puff shroom. Actually, this goes in. Yeah, this goes in B because it's cheap. You can get. It's free, and the recharge time is quick. So it's sort of useful on every stage because even if it's a daytime level, you can still plant it as a sort of like walnut type protection. It doesn't have a lot of hits, but because you can make infinite amounts, it has a lot of value. Next, the garlic. This is B. It's really good on survival endless, I think. I've heard that it's useful for killing lots of zombies with the fume shroom. Or the gloom shroom, I think. However, it isn't. Because it can concentrate a lot of zombies onto one area, it becomes susceptible. It indirectly leaves the lane that everything is being led to very vulnerable because it can make it so that all your hard hitting plants are only able to be used on one row instead of being spread out. So it just makes it harder to use, I would say. It requires more thought, however, it can be rewarding. Next would be the kernel bolt. It deals less damage than the cabbage bolt, however it makes up for it by having the butter, so that way it deals like, I think it's double. It's like double damage, I think. It's slightly more than a pea shooter at least. And if you get a lot of them onto one row, then it can stun on a lot of zombies. So that's C tier. That's B tier. Next, the plantain. Actually, this goes in C. This is alright because it gives, I think it's 25 sun. So it's like one sun needed to get, and it lights up the fog. However, it's also useful as like a walnut type thing, but isn't that good as a fog dispenser because it takes up a whole slot. And especially on survival fog, it's much better to have that space be used up with like a repeater or like a walnut or like a watermelon pult or something like that. So it belongs in C. Next, the Tangle Kelp. This is a pretty good B tier plant for me. The main thing this is good for, and it's sort of similar to the potato mine, except for underwater, and that's because it's good against the dolphins. Dolphins and bucketheads, this is good for because you can't plant potato mines in the water, and you also can't plant spike weeds. So this is a good alternative option. However, the insta-kills... Yeah, and it has like the same recharge time as an insta-kill, since it basically counts as one. So it belongs in B. Next, the dandelion, or marigold. This is B. It gets you money, and that's all it needs. So it's pretty good B tier, however... it isn't good for any sort of strategy, I guess. Especially if once you unlock Survival Endless, you probably already have a lot of things unlocked anyways. So, I don't know. It isn't useful for strategy, but it's good for getting money. And the Marigold, Magnet Gold, I think, also goes with it for the same reason. These both are just used to make money. Split pea can go in B. It's just a pea shooter, but it costs one more sun, I think. And it can... the main reason to use this is when they're digger zombies. You can just use this and pumpkins, and it will just like kill them. You can also use these in front of torchwoods, so that it like doubles it. Next, I'll place the Scaredy Shroom. These are technically identical to the pea shooter, because they cost 25 sun, so they're better on nighttime, but in daytime, if you use them with the coffee bean, then they cost 100. So it's basically just a pea shooter. However, it's better because it costs 25 sun. So it's cheaper, but has the same power. Unless zombies get too close, but this is more of like a long range thing, which is what the pea shooter is supposed to be. Like the close range is what the chomper is for. Or like the cherry bomb or something. Okay, next, maybe... Umbrella Leaf. This is B tier. Because it is good for... I think I have to restart my Twitch. Umbrella Leaf is for B tier because it's good against both the catapult and bungees, and so that gives a lot of value. It is sort of like the like flower pot as how it's essential, except you technically don't need it. And if you, it's also, well, it's just as cheap. Actually, maybe this goes in C tier because it just has a lot more variation, and also you don't have to use it. It's good at protecting your expensive ones, but I don't know. If a catapult destroys a sunflower, then you can just place the sunflower back down. Next, squash goes in B tier. This is mostly only good for gargantuas, I would say. I don't see how this would be useful on most levels, since the potato mine and the chomper and the cherry bomb do the same thing. However, this one's 50 sun, so it's pretty cheap. Next, Snopey. This is B tier because it does slow zombies down. It doesn't slow them a lot. At least from what I can tell, the Slurpee does like slows them down by 50%, but the Ice Room and the Ice Pulse do like 75%, so it's like not that useful. It is cheaper than the repeater though, so, and it does like technically the same thing. However, if you have multiple snow peas, then it'll just be like having multiple pea shooters because they don't do much. Like the snow doesn't stack. And also isn't good against groups, which the repeater is, since it slows them down, but it keeps the same amount of health. So if there's like 2 cone heads against a Snopey, the cone heads will probably win. However, with the repeater, it's likely that the repeater will win. So that's why Snow goes in B. And 3-peater also goes here. It's technically good, however, it costs more than just 3 pea shooters, and it deals the same amount of damage, so why don't you just get the pea shooter instead? So, however, saying that, because it stacks 3 of them in one square, if your sunflowers are good, then the 3-peater is technically the best of all the pea shooters, since you can have them cover each other, so you can technically have triple the amount of pea shooters that you would normally have, which is where its value is in. So yeah, however, it's very expensive. Next, in B, belongs to the cattail. This is B. It's alright against the balloons. However, it isn't the best. I rarely use this plant. However, so maybe it belongs in C tier, because while it's pretty good, it's pretty fast. I don't know. For me, it just feels a bit unreliable compared to the others. Next. else belongs in B? Cherry Bomb. Cherry Bomb's a B because they're good at groups. Actually, no, not cherry bombs. Jalapenos are B tier because they're really good at a single lane, but that's it. And they're slightly cheaper than the cherry bomb. However, because typically when there's one problem, it tends to be in all rows. So the jalapeno just like deletes one but leaves the rest fine. So it's alright as like a final wave option. But aside from that, it goes in B. Next will be that might be it. Might be onto A tier now. So, A tier. A tier is for... A tier. This is where I'll typically only pick plants in like S and A tier. However, sometimes I have to pick one in all these. So starting in A tier, I'm placing Cherry Bomb. This is A tier because it is, like what I said earlier, it's when there's one problem, it tends to be in multiple lanes. And so the Cherry Bomb is really good at getting rid of half of the lanes, which makes it super useful. This is A tier. Next, the Snow Ice Shroom. It's basically like the Doom Shroom, except it doesn't kill everyone, it just stuns them. However, it's a pretty good like damage control option. So yeah. Next, this is the Hoover, I think it's called. This is a great one. It's both the cactus and the plantain in one. It's A tier. It gets rid of fog, it gets rid of balloons, and kills them instantly. It costs 100. Its recharge time is quick. Everything about this is good. And also, because it's temporary, you place it down, the fog goes away. You can place something else on top of it, like a pea shoot or whatever. So that's why this is in A. Next, the Fume Shroom. This is A tier because it's really good against group attacks, which is what it's what the Torchwood does, it's what the melons do, it's what the Repeater and the Gatling Pea and the corn. When there's a group attacking plant, it tends to be pretty good. And these can go through screens and things. However, they're also useful for basically all levels. They're maybe on rooftop they aren't useful, but on all the others they are. So they belong in A tier. They also have a fast recharge and are cheap, so they're good. Next, Hypno also belongs in A tier because if you can get a high-powered zombie to eat this, then they'll just be able to fight for you, basically. It's especially good with footballs and discos, I think. However, it can also be good against like screen doors and things. So it's A tier. The only problem is that if a Gargantua squashes it, then the Gargantua doesn't turn. So that's its only problem. And it's long recharge time. Next in A tier, the coffee bean. This is in A tier because it's necessary for every mushroom in the game. So it needs to be in A tier, maybe even S tier, but I'll leave it at A. Next, I'll put the tool nut. This is very good. I think it has more health than the walnut, and however, it's also good against the poles and the dolphins as they go over it. Basically, in all survival levels, it's basically, except for maybe endless, it's a standard to just have a lane of these because they're very good at slowing down everything. Basically like the ice room, just as like a bit of support. Next, spikeweeds. These are a good combo. The tuna and then the spikeweed. The spikeweeds are alright. However, like they're good at slowing down everything. However, they aren't. If you place one of these, a regular zombie won't die walking across it. So it isn't good for that. However, it's mainly used because it's a great like additive. Like you place the tool nut, then you place this, then you have like pea shooters on the left. So that way if there's like a screen door, then they'll just like stop here and then die. So that's what it's good for. And I'll also place I'll put the cob cannon in A tier. This is on Survival Endless. This is the main plant that people use. So it's got a lot of value. It's very good. However, it's 500 costing. It's 500 cost of sun makes it too expensive to be used on basically any other level. Like you can't use it on the main game. You can't use it on mini games. Or even like the easy survival levels. It's only really useful on survival hard and endless. However, it's also a bit expensive on hard anyways. So it loses S tier ranking because it's just too expensive for most of the time. It's too expensive. Next one will be maybe I feel like the rest are all S tiers. Guess we can start there then. First of all, the Spike Rock S tier, because it takes 9 hits for Gargantua to kill it, which means that if you have these on the very right side of the screen, as soon as the Gargantua like appears, it'll be blocked, which makes it far more useful than any other plant in the game. It isn't great on endless because there're just so many that doesn't become worth it to have. However, it's really good against all the vehicles and gargantuas, which makes it S tier. It's also very easy to get. Its sun cost makes it so that on survival hard at least, you can typically get a full lane of these by like the 3rd wave or 6th wave, whatever. So it's pretty useful. It can also be used to stop digger zombies. If you place it on the left side, then put sunflowers and pumpkins right next to it. However, that can also waste sun potential, so maybe not. Next, the magnet shroom. It gets rid of all the metallic objects. That's all it does, which makes it very useful. And yeah, that's basically it. It just takes metal, but it's really good at doing it. Having 2 lanes of these, or even just 1 lane, right after your tool nuts, is pretty good. Next will be Imitator. This belongs in S tier because it can be any plant. So it just, because it can be as good as any of them, it's the best. Next, I guess I've been referencing a lot. The pumpkin, S tier. This helps protect tool nuts, walnuts, sunflowers, all of them. Can be used to, yes, especially on pool levels, it's good against the zombies that pop up out of the middle, and it's good against when the gargantuas throw their imps. It's good against them. So yeah, for basically every scenario, pumpkins are good. You can even plant them on spike weeds. It's just another way to slow zombies. Next, Gloom Shroom. I'm actually going to place this in A tier, along with Cob Cannon. Like, these are good on Survival Endless, but at least for me, like, if there's a zombie here, if there's a zombie on its lane, just one normal one, it's pretty likely that the Gloom Shroom will just die, because it doesn't have a lot of forward range. It's only really useful if a garlic is right in front of it. So it loses a lot of value in that. However, it's really good at clearing zombies on the sides. So it goes in A tier. Next, Doom Shroom, S tier. It does everything that both the jalapeno and the cherry bomb does. It has wide range in basically every direction. It has like 5 tiles of a radius, and then it also has like 5 tiles in basically every direction. So it's better than both cherry and jalapeno. Only problem is the crater. However, on especially final waves, then that's just like, there's already going to be like so many enemies that just planting this will just like will just be more rewarding than hurting. Next, Watermelon, S tier. You use this on the final level. It's good at basically all times. I'll just, on roof levels and basically all survival hard levels. I won't even use kernel or cabbage, I'll just use watermelons because they deal lots of damage. If you use sunflowers, potato mines, and twin sunflowers, you can just like get straight to 300 sun without needing to cost much. So it belongs in S tier. Ice Pulse also in S tier because it's the same but just better. You only need one of these in each lane though. However, because these are group attacks, you don't even need a full layer of 5 or 6. You just need 2, and it'll technically be good enough. Next, Torchwood, S tier, can double all peas that go through it. Very good. Yeah, and it's just another way of conserving space. That's what the 3-peater, the Torchwood, the 3-peater, the Snow Pea, they all are good at conserving space. And the Torchwoods are also useful on fog levels because they light up a little bit. Next, Twin Sunflowers. These go S tier because it's double. It's also conserving space. One layer of these is too good, I feel. The recharge time seems to be pretty fast actually. For being the upgrade plants, they tend to just have like not a long recharge, and they give you 50 instead of 25. And because twin sunflowers exist, it sort of makes sunshrooms worse because they're only doubling for sunshrooms, just a regular one, and doubles again. So the twins are just like too good. Next, Potato Mine, S tier. Probably doesn't come as a shock to anyone ever, because S tier is for the best in most places, in most times. That's what the Potato Mine is. You can plant it at the very start, and it'll just win. It'll just win. It's got, I think it's like 25 sun. So once you plant down a sunflower, you wait for it to pop up with the sun, you collect it, boom, Potato Mine. And that's an insta-kill right there. Then you can focus on planting more suns. So the potato and sunflower just sort of combine really well. It only stops being useful at like later survival levels. However, at that point it can be replaced with like a cherry bomb or something. But it's all about getting that sun production up. That's what it's mainly for. And lastly, these two. The Gatling Pea, S tier. It costs slightly more than the regular one, except it shoots 4, which is pretty good for most times. Combining Gatling Peas with Torchwood is always good. That deals 8 damage, and the regular zombie has 10 health, so that just cleans through it. And finally, for S tier, the Repeater belongs here, because, in my opinion, it's the best plant in the entire game, above everything else, because it's cheap, you can get it, and it will just deal a lot of damage. You don't have to worry about anything else, it's just good. So that belongs in S tier, above everything else. So yeah, that's my tier for Plants vs Zombies. And now I'll do another one. So let's do it. So put that up. And now I'll go on to the I'll do the TF2 one now. So the next one will be TF2 medic weapons. Here it is. Cool. So now it's time to check out this. What's loading still? I don't know when it's loading. Anyways, so TF2 medic. So I tend to play as medic. So I'm used to most of the weapons. I know what most of them do. I've seen all their effects. So yeah. So once again we're starting with F tier, working our way up to S. So in F tier, I'm just going to be placing the stock weapons. The syringe gun, the overdose, actually I guess first I'll clear this, then I'll delete it. So S to D. In D tier, the overdose belongs in D tier because it isn't the best just in general. It the like increased speed is only really useful if you're like having to flee, but at that point you're not fast enough anyway, so it belongs in D tier. Next, the Blut Saga. Now this might be more controversial, but I'm putting this in D tier because I feel that it encourages medics to shoot the enemy when they aren't supposed to be shooting the enemy. They're supposed to be healing their teammates. So it goes in D tier for encouraging medics to do what they aren't supposed to be doing. And I guess that's fair. Next, I'll put in... I guess I'll go into C tier now. C tier belongs to the stock weapons. These go in C tier because why would you use them? They aren't actively worse than the ones in D tier, but they aren't actively better than the ones in B, A, or S. So they belong in C tier. They're just standard. You aren't supposed to be using them, and if you're using them too that much, you're doing bad. But if you're not using them, then you're doing good. So they just go in C tier. Next, the whatever it's called, the Oath. I don't remember. This guy. He belongs in C tier because you aren't really. If you're looking at your enemies with this, then you're not really focusing on looking at your teammates. And also, if you're looking at your enemies, you're probably going to be getting headshot because you're not supposed to be looking at the enemies. So it goes in C tier. And also, the seeing people's health isn't that useful when it comes to being a medic. If a soldier could equip this, then it would be useful. Or like a sniper, if a sniper could equip this, then it would be useful. Because then they would be able to tell if they would need like a headshot or not. But because this is on medic, it belongs in C. Next, I think it's called no, not the Vaccinator, it's the Amputator. This is C tier because I think it can be useful if all your teammates are on like 1 health, but the quick fix can also do that. So I don't know. I'll just put in C. And I think B tier is next. This is for the Vitasaur and nothing else. Because the Vitasaur is pretty good. If you can hit an enemy with it, you'll have more Uber when you die. But I don't know. I feel like the usefulness of the Vitasaur is too little compared to the usefulness of the Ubersaur, which is what everyone says. But I'd say it's what I think. Hold on. No, I don't want that. Making medic tier list. I'll put it there. Oh yeah, the stream has a delay. Okay, so that's all good now. Back to this. So, B tier is for Vitasaur. Next, A tier. This is where the Quick Fix. Quick Fix goes A tier. This is pretty good in casual mode, because with 12 players, they have to heal. Or the usefulness of Uber doesn't become as useful as just the ability to heal fast. And so the Quick Fix is good for that, since it does like 30 health or something. It just heals faster. So it belongs in A tier. However, its Uber charge isn't great. So it's only useful in casual. and when you have like no other medics. However, it's A tier because it can still heal people. Crossbow also goes in A tier because it heals people through A tier. It also deals pretty good damage. If you can aim it, it can be really useful for if your team is all spread out. So it's A tier. I guess next would be S tier. I'm gonna put the Ubersaw here because there's no reason to not equip the Ubersaw. It's basically just a straight upgrade from the Bone Saw. It has lots of random crits. It gives you Uber. That's basically the only reason you would equip it. So S tier. One hit from it is good. 2 is probably enough. And 3 or 4 is just like, okay, that's too much. Next, I'll put the Kritzkrieg because this is. Actually, I'm going to put this in A tier because it's good if your team can aim, and that's it. However, it's really bad at keeping you alive because it doesn't do it. If you activate. The point of this is basically just to like kill everyone before they can hurt you. However, the other team can hurt you very fast, even if you have this active, so it goes in A tier. S tier next, stock, because yeah, it's stock. It goes in S tier. Regular Ubercharge beats everything in the entire game, except for environmental hazards, but whatever. Then yeah, it's just good at healing people. You get rewarded if you stay alive. It's good. And lastly, the Vaccinator, S tier, because if you learn how to use it, you almost never die. And if it requires, it could be nerfed. However, it requires that the enemy team focuses on dealing focus fire towards you or having lots of melee. So it's not great that it forces your enemy team to change what they have equipped, but it's alright in that it takes a bit more skill to use compared to the other mediguns. So that's my medic tier list. Lastly, I guess and the third one could be I'm not sure. Let's see if there are any on here. Nah. I know. We could do... You know, like Cuphead? Yeah, let's do Cuphead. Are there 60 bosses? Ah, weapons. There it is. Cool. Okay, so this is Cuphead. Weapons and specials. We're gonna just add a row below called don't know. So let's go with don't know. I don't know. I know this is that DLC charm, but I don't know what it does, so I'm just gonna leave in there. Next. I'll just go from the top down. The regular blue one, this will go in A tier. Because it's just good on all bosses. It just deals standard damage, standard attack rate, standard range. It's just all good. It's just the standard. Making Cuphead weapon tier list. I'll refresh Twitch because it seems to be slowing down a bit. So, A tier for the pea shooter. Next, the triple goes in S tier. I don't tend to use the I don't use the specials a lot, so don't use enough. So I tend to just save up for this, like supers. So with these cards, I don't have much thought on them. So they can all go up here, I think. Oh, I know the Sentry one though. That's A tier. Is that a thing? I don't know. Oh, this is the Zap weapon. I'll put that in C tier. Because it feel like it does damage, but I'm not sure. And the tornado goes in B because it's got good coverage. So this chaser one, that's A tier. It's pretty good on the third aisle. And also I think it's good on all aisles actually. Lubba, this is only good on specific bosses, but isn't that good, so it goes in C. This charge one, I'm gonna put in D tier, because it can be good, however, I just like the consistency of all the others. This backwards one, this is good on certain bosses, but it's B tier. Because I think it deals the same damage, it's just that it goes backwards. So I'm gonna put in A tier actually. Oh, Crackshot, this is S tier. 100%. I use this against basically all of the bosses in the DLC and the third aisle, because it's like the chaser but better. This one is also B tier, because it does like, I think it's pea shooter, right? It's like pea shooter damage, but spread over 3 ways, something like that. That goes to B though. It's like if this triple one, this red one, it did less damage and had more range. That's basically what it is. Oh, this up range thing, this was pretty good on the final few bosses. It goes in B. The final few bosses of the third aisle, this was really good at. Also the DLC, since it acts sort of like the Crackshot and the Chaser, except I think it has more damage. It has like pea shooter damage or something like that. Next, it's the Charms. This deals more health, but has less damage. I'm gonna put in D. Actually, I'm gonna put it here because I don't use it enough. The Smoke Bomb, that's like a solid B tier, because it's pretty good. It's reliable. You can use it on the plane levels, which isn't the same for all of them. And yeah. Next is the auto parry. I'll put this in D tier because it also isn't. It just does what you can already do. So I don't know. It feels like nothing really changes with it. Next is the autofill. This also goes in D tier because it does what, if you're just continuously damaging the enemy, then this isn't really necessary. Next are double hearts. Okay, I did see this. I'm gonna put it in C though, because it does what this other heart does, except you get 2 health. So it's just better. Oh, here's the axe. That's right, because it can deal damage. This goes in C because the other guns are better. Oh, Miss Chalice, that's S tier. Miss Chalice is S tier. You have double jump. You have the invincible roll. It's just all good. Oh, this one, that's also S tier. This is like I think it's every odd numbered parry kills you, something like that. And so it's really good against like complicated bosses. Next on to the plain ones. Bullets, like the pea shooter. I don't know what that is. This, I think it's a C tier. Actually, I don't use it a lot. The bombs, that's also A tier. They're pretty together. I don't use this enough. I missed Chalice's one. That is A tier. Because these all do the same thing, so... Oh, but this one, that's D tier. Because it doesn't do a lot. Next... Oh, this is Miss Chalice's bombs. I'm gonna put them in S tier. Because they do what this one does, but it's just faster. I don't use this enough. Oh, now it's onto the supers. 1, A tier. 3, D tier. The invincibility one though, 2, that's S tier. It's like the Ubercharge on Medic. So that's why it goes in S tier. The bomb one, that's S tier. This is the only reason why I would save up the thing. Oh, 1 for Miss Chalice. It's like a vertical beam, I think. That's D tier. 2, S tier. These are basically the same thing, they're both just as good. 3, that's a good, it's like 1, but for Miss Chalice. Plain, also good. Next, what are these? I don't recall any of these. I'm gonna put them in don't know. Yeah. So there's that tier list. So there's I think all these are basically what I only use. And A tier. The chases are pretty good, but they are very overshadowed by the crack shot, since these do the same thing. Yeah. How long's this stream been? 1 hour 30. That's pretty good. I think that that might be pretty good for today. So that was, we did the Cuphead tier list, the Medic tier list, and the Plants for Zombies tier list. It's pretty good. To at some point this week, I'm probably gonna. I think for the VTuber model thing, I want to do that off stream because from what I've seen, it's a bit complicated. And yeah. So this might be a good place to wrap up stream for now. Yeah. Ending stream soon. Here's credit. So you can find me on YouTube, like usual. Yeah. So yeah. That's basically it for this stream. There we are. Yeah. I think I don't know when the next stream will be. Probably sometime tomorrow. But yeah, that's probably it for this stream. Yeah. I'm gonna upload the VOD onto the main channel, VOD channel soon. So, yeah. Good day.